This is Would Evie Drive It, a tiny little show on our channel where we let Evie judge the cars.
Would I drive a Volkswagen Golf R?
Hell if I know, but first, information explosion.
Let's start things off with emotion factor.
My lady, are you moved by the style of the Volkswagen Golf R?
I do love a squared off little hatchback. Like, that's totally my style. It's not as over the top as the Civic Type R, but it does make you wonder, like, is that car fast?
It's more of a suggestion of speed than a loud screaming Micah style speed.
True, which is much more my style. I mean, you're totally my style, baby.
As intimated there, the Golf R is a very sporty hatchback. How do you feel driving this thing?
Okay, I don't know if it's because I haven't driven a stick shift in 2 years, but as I'm driving around, my main thought is, it's going too fast. It's going too fast.
If it feels like it's going too fast, you know you're driving, right? You're the one in charge of the car.
Even though every car I owned until I was 37 was a manual transmission, it only took a couple years for me to completely forget how to drive one.
I saw a squirrel.
Hi, squirrel.
Hi, squirrel.
Does it feel good steering?
Yeah, the steering feels great. I like the weighting of it. It feels precise. I like it.
How comfortable do you feel like pushing it a little bit around corners? Like, do you feel like you can carry all the speed you want?
I don't know if it's because the profile of the tires is very low and it's been raining where we are, but I did not feel confident doing that.
At least my time driving the Golf R, it's very, very capable, but we're running on summer tires.
Yes.
And in a winter environment, if you look around, you'll see there's a bunch of snow. That could be a little disconcerting.
Yes.
I am curious though about power. Do you feel like there's enough?
Yes, I feel like there's plenty of power for me.
Perhaps even too much power.
Yes, exactly.
Are you having any fun driving this?
That's what's making me so sad. This is obviously a really fun car, but I'm not having fun driving it.
That is, I think, very much a statement about your tastes,
Yes.
much more so than the vehicle itself. You're driving a fun vehicle, but maybe
Yes, sweetie? What conclusion would you like to draw?
maybe the fun gap in the situation wears glasses and a hat.
Aw, the fun gap sounds like something really fun.
I was going to say, yeah, like that's another entry into the Urban Dictionary that we don't want to explore. In the right environment, if you were somewhere that's very dry and, you know, like a little bit open and maybe not covered in dust, like you might be having more fun in the Golf R. Or if you're just me, you might be having more fun in the Golf R.
Agreed. It seems like it's a great vehicle to drive for someone.
How do you feel about the ride quality?
I'm definitely feeling more of the road, which I can see if you're into driving would add to the fun factor.
Okay, this is comfort mode. This is race mode. The adaptive suspension, there is a big difference between modes. You really, really do feel it.
Do you want me to hit a pothole to demonstrate properly?
I don't need to request that. It will
It'll
happen
happen.
organically. When you're in race mode, you will feel like you're in race mode. So it has kind of a flexible nature. Let's feel, okay. You feel that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that you can put it into custom mode. So if you like cars to drive comfortably but sound really loud when you do things, you can make it do that.
Yeah, exactly. Who is that woman making the scene in the Ralph's parking lot?
She's not even driving that fast.
Oh, I forgot to ask, how's visibility?
Visibility sucks.
Does it really?
It does. This is very sloping, so I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it really intrudes into my vision, but that's because I am placed rather forward. In cars with a clutch, it's even worse. Over my left shoulder, visibility is very poor.
You're shorter, so you're further forward, so you see more of the B-pillar,
Yes.
whereas where I am, I just see right through the back window. That's surprising because I would have thought it'd be great visibility because it's got such big windows.
Yeah, where I am placed particularly, it is not good. So your visibility will vary based on your height.
Okay, so are you feeling an emotion?
I'm feeling a little overwhelmed, you guys.
Emotion factor checked.
But is it family friendly?
like any Golf, it's pretty roomy for a small car. I fit very comfortably in the back seat there, good headroom. Legroom is amazing sitting behind a sweetie, but a normal-sized person, there'd still be plenty of legroom. Yeah, it's... Oh, don't you dare start with me.
What do you want?
Cancel, cancel, cancel. Any thoughts about getting our kiddo in and out of here?
It's so easy for our girl to climb in this thing. I think there's plenty of space in the cargo area.
Yeah, cargo space is a generous 19.9 cubic feet, and then you can flip those seats down. Very, very flexible, usable, yet small platform. As for safety, it's not rated by the NHTSA, but lane keeping assist, blind spot warning, front and rear parking sensors, all come standard. So yeah, pretty solid safety cred. What do we think? Is the Volkswagen Golf R family friendly?
For sure, family friendly. But is it mountain friendly?
Let's kick off the mountain friendliness segment with a ceremonial opening of the bubbly, sparkling water. Sweetie, what do you think about the mountain friendliness of the Golf R?
So it has all-wheel drive, which is great. The tires on it are so low profile, though they're not as confidence-inducing for me. But I'm sure we could upgrade that, right, for winter?
Yeah, I think the baller move would probably be to follow our Canadian friends, all of the straight pipes, and get a dedicated set of winter wheels and tires. So get yourself a snow tire, and I think this thing would be, I don't want to say unstoppable.
Unstoppable.
But it would be a pretty great rig for mountain driving. Certainly not off-road, but I would say that for our mountain friendliness segments, we already have off-road pretty well checked.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, for just like making our way to the grocery store in a winter storm, this would still do a pretty good job. Mountain friendly?
Mountain friendly.
I love the mountains. Moving onward to my favorite segment.
Sweetie potpourri.
Tell me about the infotainment system.
Do we have to talk about the infotainment system?
Feels like you've gone through some sort of infotainment-related trauma.
Instead of knobs or buttons, it has these sliders right in the space where you'd want to rest your hand to use the touch screen. So I like that you can use sliders or taps, because one is quick and one is more precise. But then I started trying to do things while I was driving, and it's very hard to figure out what's happening, and it is not at all intuitive.
Volkswagen has taken on a new philosophy for the human-machine interfaces of their vehicles. This is a perfect reflection of that, and I think this is a lot like when Honda got rid of the volume knob, and they went through a phase, almost like a teenager going through a thing, where it's like, they're just going to need to work through this, but eventually they'll find their way. I don't think this is the future.
I do like that they tried something new, but I'm not finding it easy to use.
You know what's better than something new? Something good.
Something that works?
Yeah. Well, and you take the kind of capacitive interface here, and then you apply that to the steering wheel as well. So all those buttons are not actual buttons. You get this little haptic feedback when you press it, but it doesn't feel like a very solid confirmation.
Yes.
A physical button lets you know you pushed the button. Earlier, you weren't sure if you turned on the steering wheel heater or not. And like even when you were turning it on and off, you get a little thing in the gauge cluster, but...
Which is essential, because I don't know what's happening unless those little messages pop up. What's a nice word for a difficult person? Challenging.
I've heard that if somebody is challenging, you know, let's say Tom Sizemore is a hard actor to work with, you say, you know, Tom is Tom. You know, the Golf R is Golf R.
Yeah. How long did it take you, automotive journalist? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, sweetie.
We have a puke situation. You're going to pull over here.
Okay.
Did you actually puke? Oh, good.
Yay!
Let's take a moment. You guys, we thought she puked. She didn't actually puke. But we're going to take a moment here, pause, cool things down a little bit. We'll come right back. All right, crisis averted. Moving on. Let's see, where were we? Oh yeah, that's right, we were lambasting the infotainment system. I will counter with a quick compliment, which is that Apple CarPlay and Android Auto come standard, as does wireless phone charging, which pairs really nicely with that wireless approach. What do you think about the digital gauge cluster? You've got 10 point something inches of gauge cluster to stare at.
It looks really nice. It looks sharp. I like that when you change the different modes, it changes the layout here, and it changes what it looks like in the infotainment as a nice warning to the passengers. Oh no, Evie's in drift mode.
Can I show you something cool?
Yes, please.
Sweetie, can I show you a little something called drift mode?
Oh, boy.
So now, it's kind of a weird drift mode. It's like, it sends power to the outside rear wheel, and then you can overdrive that wheel and do like little spins and stuff, but you can't really maintain a drift because it's still sending power to the front wheel. But let's see what happens if we do this. There we go. Here's a little smooth patch. Let me see if I can do a little donut here without hitting those rocks. There's a little something there. This is not an ideal setting, but yeah, we did get it to spin around a little bit. Drift mode. And that's drift mode. You're driving the manual transmission, but I'll point out that there's a dual clutch transmission. They call it a DSG for $800, and it is functionally superior. We like the sort of nostalgia of a manual transmission, but it's more efficient than the manual version.
And
It's
more efficient than I am at shifting, for
certainly,
sure.
yes, much more seamless, and also it'd be the faster choice. And with the DSG transmission, you actually get a little bit more torque. The engine puts out a little bit more of the torque. More of the torque.
All that for only $800, I'm in.
What a value. How do you like the seats?
The seats are cozy, but not too cozy.
I think they do a pretty good job of holding you in place without impeding your arm movements. I do think it's interesting, though, that in a fairly expensive vehicle, you've got pretty solid power controls over there, but mine is basically a manually adjustable seat with power recline. So, I don't know. Now, sitting on this side, I kind of wish for a little bit more.
Hey, I'm putting all the work in with the shifting. The least they can do is give me a good seat.
One element I like that's a classic Golf element is this center armrest. I know you're not really an armrest person, but you can put it at different heights, extend it, and that's nice. You're not going to use that, so I will. Okay.
Actually, now it's in my way.
Sorry, I'll move that back.
One last thought about the armrest, though. When it's in its full forward position, you lose a cup holder, right?
Yeah, but this baby's built for driving, not for drinking. Can I point out something interesting?
Yeah.
You know how we always complain about shiny black plastic and how they always collect fingerprints? You're gonna love this. It's super funny, but the fob is made of shiny black plastic, a thing specifically meant to be handled. Oh, this is going to collect all the fingerprints.
So much finger goo.
As a guy who frequently enjoys a bubbly water while sitting in the right seat here, I'd like to point out that they have discovered Hyundai Palisade cup holder tech. You push a little button and then the thing circles around, but it does a good job holding my can in place.
Oh,
Can I make a trim recommendation?
please do.
There's only one trim, get that one. But it is very well equipped. 3-zone climate control comes standard. It's basically loaded. The only choice is which transmission you want. I have a suggestion though, sweetie. What if you could have the exact same form factor of the Golf R, but save a bunch of money and the only thing you give up is all-wheel drive and some power?
Well, I do need all-wheel drive for the mountains, but giving up the power and saving a lot of money sounds awesome.
Then maybe you should consider the Volkswagen GTI. It's basically this, as I described.
Nice.
Let me quickly blast through some competitors. The number one would be the WRX STI. It's less expensive than the Golf R. You know, it's plenty powerful. There are also some cheaper alternatives, things like the Veloster N, the Honda Civic Type R would be another one. Oh, and then here's an interesting one, the Mazda 3 Turbo. Much less expensive, comes with all-wheel drive, comparatively fancy. All right, I think we've covered all the necessary bases. The only question that remains, would Evie drive it? Yes, no, maybe so. Would you drive the Volkswagen Golf R?
No, sadly. If I was a fun party time person who liked to drive fast and use my stick shift,
And go to clubs?
I don't know what fun people do. It's a cute hatch, which I love. It just requires more more engagement than I have in me.
I suspect your taste skews more zippy than sporty.
Yes. And the infotainment is really difficult to use, and that's important to me.
Yeah. What do you think? Is Evie crazy for denying the charms of the Volkswagen Golf R? Tell us in the comments. Hey, have you subscribed to our channel? If you haven't, please do. At 100,000 subs, we're going to review a windowless white van. If you're curious what we're doing with teen YouTube videos, give us a follow over on Instagram. I think we did it. The only thing that remains is the awkward goodbye.